Hi everyone! Welcome to my first video tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how I paint skin in Paint Tool SI. Choose whatever base color you wish and paint it down at 100% opacity below your line art layer. Choose whatever color you want, whether your subject is light, dark, zombie, alien, doesn't matter. It's good to experiment with many different skin colors so you don't accidentally limit yourself and get criticized for a lack of diversity. Now, I do need to mention that dark skin is painted slightly differently, as dark skin reflects light in a slightly different way, as you can see in this little tip box sampled from Navade's DeviantArt skin tutorial, which I'll be linking to in the description. I don't usually erase the skin color that is colored outside of the boundaries, as I usually paint the hair above the skin layer, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm doing this in this video to make it appear cleaner for your viewing pleasure. After placing down the base color, I choose a darker color using a cooler hue and making the value more saturated and darker. Here you can see every color I have used in this image, as well as the midtones. The only exception I make to the more saturation rule is when little to no light is accessing a certain area, such as underneath the chin. I paint directly on the base skin layer rather than a layer above. To make sure I only paint on the base color I have already put down, I check the Preserve Opacity button. Now when it comes to shading the skin, I believe it's best to think of your piece as a sculpture that you're adding depth to. It takes study and practice to identify where on the face shading is more and less prominent. I'm still learning, so my shading practices are far from perfect. You'll need to study and learn for yourselves. When you notice your shading becoming more realistic, you will feel the same sense of pride in your hard work that I did. It helps if you use a lighting reference, such as a stock picture off of Google. A great resource for both posing and lighting reference is the program DESIGNDOLL. As not only can you change the shape of the model to mimic your character, but you can also change the skin color and light source direction freely. It's an extremely valuable resource for those wishing to improve their understanding of shadows and light, as well as create great dynamic poses. I like to blend as I go, so I put down blocky shading, then smooth it out. Remember to be moderate in your blending. Don't blend too much or you might ruin some of your beautiful color work. We want to avoid the plastic look. If you want your subjects to look even more realistic, remember that humans have bones, muscles, and cartilage, and they all create different depths and effects upon the skin. You can see here that I chose to define my subject's collarbones and the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Now you'll notice I added a few saturated orange lines. This is called subsurface scattering, and I'm kind of doing a crap job of it here, but the idea is, well, I don't know, I'm actually winging it. It's a lighting thing where bright light through translucent skin shows a saturated color, or something. Just Google subsurface scattering tutorial and it'll explain it way better than I can. I put a saturated orange or pink where bright light meets dark shadow. Midtones are what make my art look the way it does, I think. Our skin isn't just one color. You cannot simply paint skin using different variations of the same hue, as it'll make it look sort of bland and uninteresting. I use 3 colors, saturated yellow, pink, and blue, to create a more diverse color range on my subjects, which kind of adds visual interest, I think. Make a new layer and clip it to your skin layer. I will include links to the mid-tone tutorials I have been using so far in the description. I put saturated yellow over any areas that are particularly bony. I put saturated pink over any areas that are fleshy or become flushed, such as when you are blushing. I put the saturated blue where the skin is thinner and veins may typically show through. I also use a desaturated yellow. I put it over the bridge of the nose and the center of the forehead and chin. Because I don't know. I just do. You can be messy here as it's simply blocking in colors. Afterwards, neatly blend the colors. Reduce the opacity of the mid-tone layer between 20 and 30%. This is up to personal artistic preference. I usually find I make my opacity about 25%. Merge the mid-tone layer and the skin layer. Now I create a new layer above the skin layer and set the mode to multiply. I eyedrop the darkest color on the skin, then paint shadows in. This will be much darker than before. Multiply creates a darker shade of whatever color it is on top of. Blend, and then reduce the opacity until it looks good to you. You can also choose to change the color of the shadow using the hue and saturation options. Merge this layer with the skin layer when you are done. This is optional, but I like to add a nice blush to my subjects, even if it doesn't look entirely realistic. I block in a pretty blush-like color that suits my subject on a layer above, and then I blend it. I like to turn the layer mode to multiply, then play with the opacity and hue and saturation settings until it looks nice to me. The last step is to add highlights. On a new layer above the skin layer, set to screen, I drop the lightest color on the skin, then paint in highlights in the crooks of the eyes, on the bridge of the nose, below the lips, and a bit above the upper lip. And a little bit around the nose as well. Or well, that's what I do anyway, because I think it looks nice. Blend it and then you're done. I would love to see people's results from following this tutorial. Hopefully I can help at least one person. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.